What's up, all you quantum maniacs? I'm DeQwan Young, and today we present the 10 worst moves of the 2019 NFL offseason so far. Don't forget to subscribe to TPS and make sure you hit the bell and turn on our notifications and join the notification squad. And don't forget to leave your video ideas down in the comments below. We're looking and we'll give you a shout out in the video if we use it. Now, sometimes you don't need a crystal ball or a time machine to determine which NFL trades, free agent signings, and draft picks will fail. You just have to connect the dots with certain blockbuster moves, make your scientific and mathematical calculations, and you already have an idea of the offseason moves that are bound to flop. And that's what we did in an effort to figure out which moves from this NFL offseason are destined to fail. Number 10. The Chiefs swapped Dee Ford for Frank Clark. The Kansas City Chiefs knew they had to fix a wretched defense that simply cost them a trip to Super Bowl 53. And they made a gutsy decision not to keep around stud pass rusher Dee Ford, instead dealing him to the San Francisco 49ers for a second-round pick in 2020. The Chiefs replaced Ford by trading for Seattle Seahawks' defensive end Frank Clark, surrendering their 2019 first-rounder, a 2020 second-rounder, plus a swap of 2019 third-round selections. But we don't quite understand why the Chiefs didn't just keep Ford and hang on to all those draft picks. Ford and Clark each recorded 13 sacks in 2018, and Ford is only 2 years older. He has 30.5 sacks in 67 career games. Clark has 35 sacks in 62 games. The production is almost identical here, and yet KC needed to part with a valuable first rounder to get Clark from Seattle. This is nothing against Clark, but he's not an upgrade over Ford. The Chiefs lost more than they gained with the swap, and not to mention the latter has a history of domestic violence. Just like Kareem Hunt, just like Tyreek Hill. The whole trade just makes the Chiefs organization look terrible from a public viewpoint. Number 9, the Bengals extend Bobby Hart. The budget-conscious Cincinnati Bengals finally decided to spend some money in the offseason. Just one problem. It was on a guy that wasn't worthy of all his cash. The Bengals gave offensive tackle Bobby Hart a 3-year contract extension worth $21 million, which caused many to laugh and raise their eyebrows. The 2015 7th-round pick of the New York Giants garnered a lackluster 56.2 grade from Pro Football Focus in 2018. Hart gave up 10 sacks and a total of 39 QB pressures. And yet, the Bengals decided to pay him starters money, even though that type of production would land him on the bench with any other team. The Bengals continue to baffle the NFL world with all these questionable head-scratching decisions. And they can't go out and throw money at Pro Bowl level players, but the front office will overpay a guy he's pretty terrible. Only the Bengals. Like, why should we be surprised by anything they do anymore? Number 8, the Raiders signed VONTAZE BURFICT. The Raiders are trying to change their culture and overall dynamic under $100 million head coach Jon Gruden. The man is always looking for big personalities on his roster. Hence why he drafted FERRELL earlier than most expected. Gruden traded for the drama-making elite wideout Antonio Brown. And we understand that move, but we don't get why he signed former Cincinnati Bengals linebacker VONTAZE BURFICT. You know, the guy who's probably the dirtiest player in the NFL, maybe in NFL history. Not to mention BURFICT delivered an ugly headshot to Brown during a Steelers-Bengals playoff game. Brown was concussed and had to miss the Steelers' AFC divisional game, which was a loss to the Denver Broncos. Yeah, Brown and BURFICT should get along nicely in that locker room. No drama or no tension at all. BURFICT was a Pro Bowler in 2013, and he's a talented player, but he's all about dishing out dirty hits and seemingly doing everything he can to get fined and suspended. And Jon Gruden really thinks this guy can be a leader on and off the field for Oakland? How much do you want to bet he's released by at least week 5? Number 7, the Giants overpay for Golden Tate. With New York Giants GM Dave Gettleman dealing away Pro Bowl wideout Odell Beckham Jr., it should have opened the door for a massive rebuilding stage. But we always forget the #1 rule in football: Giants gonna Giants. I thought it was Lions gonna Lions, or Browns gonna Browns. Which one is it? Instead of finally rebuilding, the Giants stubbornly refuse to accept they just don't have the pieces to win. New York went out and signed wide receiver Golden Tate to a 4-year contract worth $37.5 million, with $23 million of it guaranteed. Is his name really Golden? Wow, Now, Tate is a 3-time 1,000-yard wideout and can change the dynamic of a team's offense. Yes, he can. But he's 31 years of age, and he endured a down year in 2018, split between the Lions and the Eagles. He's gonna struggle big time in that Giants offense. You know, where Eli Manning is still the quarterback and where the offensive line remains like the worst in football. Manning is gonna have a hell of a time getting that ball out to Tate. Just step screens and bubble screens. That's all you got, Eli. You don't got the arm anymore, bud. The Giants should have just kept Beckham or simply decided not to pay for an aging and declining veteran player. But Dave Gettleman just couldn't pass up on this chance. He's probably gonna regret this one. Number 6, the Raiders take CLELIN with the number 4 pick. The Raiders owned a trio of first-round picks in this year's draft, but it's hard to like what Gruden and Mike Mayock did on day 1, especially with the number 4 selection. Oakland took Clemson defensive end CLELIN, which surprised the vast majority of fans and NFL analysts. Ferrell projected to be a mid to late first rounder, but Gruden and Mayock went off the board and took him much earlier than anybody could have guessed. Gruden obviously loves the man's strong personality and leadership skills, so we won't fault him for that. But there were more polished and skilled defensive players available here, including Ed Oliver, Josh Allen, and Devin White. The Raiders could have at least traded down to get Ferrell later. We could very well end up being wrong, but this was simply too much of a reach. The Raiders need a guy who's ready to produce now, and there are no guarantees that Ferrell will bring much of an impact in his rookie year. Number 5, the 49ers throw cash at KWON Alexander. John Lynch has quickly built up one ferocious front 7, adding Dee Ford and Nick Bosa to a group that already consisted of DeForest Buckner and Solomon Thomas. We love most of Lynch's offseason moves here, but it's hard to understand why he awarded $54 million over 4 years to linebacker KWON Alexander. The 2017 Pro Bowler is coming off an ACL tear that ended his 2018 season, so that's worrisome enough. Alexander has only played 16 games once in his career, and he earned a pretty bad 59.1 grade from Pro Football Focus in 2018. And yet, the 49ers are paying Alexander like he's a perennial Pro Bowler or something. That and the fact they didn't really need him given their stacked front 7 is enough for us to put Alexander signing on this list. It doesn't really make any sense to us. Number 4, the Steelers give away Antonio Brown to the Raiders. The Pittsburgh Steelers really had no choice but to part ways with a disgruntled AB. He was becoming a massive headache in the locker room, and he quit on the team by sitting out Pittsburgh's pivotal Week 17 contest. There was no way the Steelers could bring back Brown, since his relationship with the organization was beyond repair. But the Steelers could have patiently waited out the market before trading the All-Pro wideout. Over time, more and more receiver-desperate teams would have upped their offers for him. Instead, Pittsburgh seemingly panicked and just got rid of AB quickly, sending him to the Oakland Raiders for 3rd and 5th round draft choices. Brown's age and expensive contract probably scared teams off a bit, but you have to think somebody would have probably offered a 1st or 2nd rounder plus a 3rd or 4th rounder for Brown. Hell, the Steelers could have even looked to deal Brown for somewhat of a comparable impact player. I don't think there's too many out there that compare to AB, but you get what we're saying. But nope, they just gave away the league's best wide receiver for nothing more than 3rd and 5th round selections. The Brown trade is likely to be the starting point of a major downfall in the Steel City. Number 3, the Giants trade OBJ to Cleveland. Even though the Giants have been mired in mediocrity since 2012, they had one major bright spot, and that was the play of do-it-all wideout Odell Beckham Jr. The 3-time Pro Bowler registered 1,000-yard seasons in 4 of his first 5 seasons in the NFL, and he was unquestionably a top 5 wideout. But half a year after the Giants handed him a $95 million extension, Beckham was traded to the Cleveland Browns in exchange for safety Jabril Peppers and their 2019 1st and 3rd round picks. Peppers has shown some promise in his young career, but the odds are low that he becomes anything close to the impact player OBJ was for the Giants. New York used the number 17 pick from Cleveland on Dexter Lawrence. But again, are we sure he's going to be the same impact player as Beckham? No, he's not. Lawrence has some talent, but it's going to take him a while to put it all together at the NFL level. The Giants could have easily built around 2 offensive studs in Beckham and Barkley. Now they're taking another step backwards, and good for the Browns to get Beckham on board, but my goodness, the Giants have no idea what they're doing anymore. Get rid of Eli. Jesus. Number 2, the Redskins hand Landon Collins $84 million. With so many flaws all over the roster, the Washington Redskins would have been wise to spread their money around different players in different positions. Instead, they put all of their eggs into one basket and signed Pro Bowl safety Landon Collins to a 6-year deal worth $84 million. The only safeties in history worth that much money, probably in his prime Ed Reed or Troy Polamalu. The Redskins are paying Collins like he's a top 5 defensive player in the league. Spoiler alert, he isn't. Collins earned a 70.4 grade from Pro Football Focus in 2018, which is good, not great. And even though he's earned 3 straight Pro Bowl selections, Collins hasn't come anywhere close to matching his dominant 2016 season, where he had 13 passes defended and 5 interceptions. The Redskins could have signed a better safety like Earl Thomas, or a similar impact safety like LaMarcus Joyner, Eric Weddle, or Honey Badger. And even if he plays at a Pro Bowl level, it's gonna be hard for Collins to earn all $84 million. What about the rest of Washington's secondary? What about the receivers, the offensive line? Collins alone won't fix any of those other problems. The Redskins seem to strike out more than any other team in free agency. Don't forget about the year they did the Bruce Smith, Deion Sanders thing. Oh man, ugh. Don't be shocked if Collins goes down as just the latest waste of money in DC. Number 1, the Giants draft Daniel Jones with the number 6 pick. The New York Giants waited a year too late to draft Eli Manning's successor. And still, with more polished prospects like Dwayne Haskins and Drew Lock available in the 2019 draft, the Giants shocked everybody and took Duke product Daniel Jones with the number 6 pick. He's Eli Manning light. Jones was projected to be a late first or early mid to second round selection. The Giants botched this because no other GM was gonna take Jones for a while. Gettleman could have easily traded down, accumulated more picks and taken Jones later, or just took him in the second round. Or he could have taken Lock or Haskins, or he could have drafted his quarterback of the future last year. This is nothing against stud running back Saquon Barkley, who promises to be a top-tier playmaker for years to come. But running backs are replaceable, and franchise quarterbacks are not easy to find these days. The G-men passed on the likes of Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, and Josh Rosen. All of them have higher ceilings than Jones. Yeah, maybe one of them. Odds are the Giants will look back and view the 2018 and 19 drafts as missed opportunities. This was a major botch if we've ever seen one. Nobody can even bother to guess what the Giants were thinking by taking Jones at the number 6 spot. Get rid of Eli. What do you think is the worst offseason move of 2019 so far? Join us in the comments section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps us out a ton, and we truly appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.